into this world, you were tired and serene. I felt the warmth of your hands. I was always demanding and never thanked you enough. Over the years, I grew up, left home to seek my fortunes, and had hardly any time to see or think of you. I did miss you, Mommy and Daddy, but never really expressed my feelings for you. Eventually, I started my career, met my love and married, settled down and had my own children. Today, I matured, mellowed down, learned to appreciate my life and that of my loved ones, Mommy and Daddy. Every time I come back home, I wish for time to slow down. For each time I come back, you have both grown older. How I wish I can stop the clock and hence stop you from getting older. How I wish I could do something to get back all those lost years. The lost years I did not comprehend. The value of time I could have spent with you and for you. Mommy and Daddy, thank you for the unconditional love showered on me all these years. I don't know how much more time we have together in this world. I feel helpless when I think about this. But then, let me not waste any more time. Let me make your golden years happier, healthier, contented, and joyful. Birth, life, and death are inevitable. Take charge of your family's well-being. Give back comfort to your elderly parents while you still can. Love them today and every other day. When I came into this world, you were tired and serene. I felt the warmth of your hands. I was always demanding and never thanked you enough. Over the years, I grew up, left home to seek my fortunes, and had hardly any time to see or think of you. I did miss you, Mommy and Daddy. Never really expressed my feelings for you. Eventually, I started my career, met my love and married, settled down and had my own children. Today, I matured, mellowed down, learned to appreciate my life and that of my loved ones, Mommy and Daddy. Every time I come back home, I wish for time to slow down. For each time I come back, you have both grown older. How I wish I can stop the clock and hence stop you from getting older. How I wish I could do something to get back all those lost years. The lost years I did not comprehend. The value of time I could have spent with you and for you. Mommy and Daddy, thank you for the unconditional love showered on me all these years. I don't know how much more time we have together in this world. I feel helpless when I think about this. But then, let me not waste any more time. Let me make your golden years happier, healthier, contented, and joyful. Birth, life, and death are inevitable. Take charge of your family's well-being. Give back comfort to your elderly parents while you still can. Love them today and every other day.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Let me just take a quick look at how many of us are in here. We have 14 attendees, one raised hand. Hello, Priscilla Augustin. Good to see you guys here. All right, we are starting with the webinar. Good afternoon, my name is Eugene Lee, and I will be your moderator for this evening. Before we begin today's session, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our co-sponsor, Citadel Trustee Berhad. We have Mr. Frederick here from Citadel Trustee. Hold on one moment, yeah. Let me just pull up his information so you guys can take a look. Yep. So Citadel Trustee Berhad is a Malaysian independent private trust company dedicated to the administration of trusts and other wealth arrangements for individuals and businesses. Registered under the Trustee Act of 1949 with SSM, they are currently managing more than 30 million worth of assets for more than 50 clients. If you'd like to secure your wealth for future generations, please contact the director, Mr. Frederick, at 016-4616-164 or frederick@citadeltrustee.com. If you'd like, you can take a screenshot of his business card. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you very much to Mr. Frederick and Citadel Trustee Berhad. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome for spending your valuable time to attend our Zoom webinar on bedsore today. Before we get into it, I'd like to invite the host of today's webinar, Ms. Olivia Kwa from iElder.asia, to tell us a little bit more about the company. Ms. Olivia.
Hi, thank you everyone for spending your valuable time on this Saturday to attend our iElder educational Zoom webinar on bedsore today. So my name is Olivia. I'm the co-founder for iElder.asia. So that's let me brief you about the organizer, my company. So the founder is Dr. Kong Wai Hong. He has both medical professions. He's a Chinese physician in PhD holder, as well as the Western medicine GP doctors. So his mission is to integrate both medicine, the best from the East and the West, and give the patient a holistic treatment. Apart from the GP clinics and TCM clinics that we have we also run a social enterprise senior care center, as well as to distribute medical equipment to pharmacy, nursing homes, clinics, and hospitals. iElder.asia is an e-commerce platform focuses on elderly care products. We help seniors citizens to achieve their quality retirement life by introducing quality, innovative medical home care products and gadgets. Reason to start iElder simply because of my staying alone parents. One day incidents happened to my mom, fell in the toilet and triggered me the importance of independence living during the retirement life. We also have the rental and also the second-hand options for the products and services, for the products. So that's a brief overview about the company. So I hand over back to Eugene. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olivia. Oh. Okay. Yep. So we were expecting Mr. Delbran from Age Cope to be here. Unfortunately, he'll be a little bit late. So I'll just invite him up later. So next, I'd like to invite the man. Next, I'd like to invite the man that we came here for today, Mr. Derek Tim, Technical Director from Dan Medica South, who will be joining us today to speak about pressure sores and pressure sore management. With over 25 years of experience in the pressure sore space, working with some of the top brands in pressure sore management, including Jay, Roho, Hillrom, and Viclair, ladies and gentlemen, here to speak to us today, Mr. Derek Tim.
Good afternoon. Can you see me?
No, Mr. Derek.
Right. I'm still having problems with the camera. Hold on.
Okay, there we go.
We have success. It's not very bright in here. Can you see me now?
Yes, we can.
And can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Wonderful.
For our attendees, if you have any questions, you can type it out in chat, or you can, but please refrain to ask any questions until the end, where we'll have a Q&A session where you can type all your questions in chat. All right.
Wonderful.
Mr. Derek, the
Wonderful.
floor is yours.
Well, good afternoon to everybody in Malaysia, and thank you very much for attending this meeting. I'm very honoured to be here and to tell you a little bit about pressure care. My background, as Eugene stated, it's not 25 years, it's 35 years, unfortunately, in pressure care. And I've been privileged to work with some of the very large companies, including Hill-Rom and Roho. And I've been all over the world teaching pressure care. And before that, I was actually doing orthopedics, pins and plates and surgical instruments. So I've been involved in the healthcare business for quite some time. The introduction, that's my introduction. Pressure care itself, it's the grades of ulcers, as you probably know, and I'm not quite sure how well you're acquainted with pressure care in Malaysia, but obviously in the UK and in America and most of Europe, we grade our ulcers grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and grade 4. Now the UK were doing a system called the Norton scale. And the Norton scale goes from 0 to 20, and then 0 being very low risk, and then 20 being incredibly high risk. Nurses in hospitals and clinics are usually acquainted with the Norton scale. However, recently, technology has changed, and more ultrasonic ultrasound is being used to actually look at the ulcers and the way they are developing under the tissue, under the surface of the skin. And pressure ulcers, actually, they've now proven that pressure ulcers are like a reverse pyramid. So what you see on the top surface is much more dense underneath. It's as simple as that. There's no big deal about pressure care. If we go on to the grades of ulcers, obviously there are many medical papers which you can plug into, even on our own website, Dan Medica South. And I'm sure that Eugene will point you into that direction. There are thousands of papers on pressure care, the grades 1, 2, 3, and 4. But grade 4 is the ultimate. It's virtually down to the bone. So we don't want to get things like that. You know, it's terrible. One of the things that causes pressure ulcers is shearing. And to explain shearing, the easiest way to do it is by holding your thumb on the bone and rubbing the skin on the surface. Now, if you can imagine, if somebody is in a wheelchair and they're in a wheelchair for 12, 15 hours a day, the shearing underneath their, what we call ischial tuberosities, the bony prominences on the bottom, that becomes really great. So the World Health Organization figures actually show that 94% of pressure ulcers are caused by this shearing effect of the skin. So if you can get rid of the shearing, then you've got a very good chance of keeping healthy tissue. So once you've gotten rid of the shearing, how you do that is in different ways. The other very important point is peripheral blood flow. Now, the peripheral blood flow is measured in most of the world by what we call millimeters of mercury per square inch. I think the Americans do it by square, another device, but we do it in the UK by millimeters of mercury. Now, your peripheral blood flow is between 33 and 35 millimeters of mercury per square inch. So that means that all your peripheral arteries are at that level. So if you have a surface which is below that capillary blood flow, it's very, very difficult to get a pressure ulcer. And what we've developed recently is a surface which actually does that. I'm trying to do this very quickly. I'm trying to be as brief as possible, but allow you to understand pressure care is it's something that is caused by a lot of different things. Diet, the elderly, being laying in bed for long periods, the tissue starts to necrose, and it just gets deeper and deeper, and then all of a sudden the surgeons have to come in, and there are lots and lots of things they have to do. Nowadays, if it gets to grade 4 ulcers, we can put them on different surfaces. We can put the body into basically space saver materials. A lot of departments in American hospitals are filling these wounds up with foam and doing all sorts of irrigation to keep the wound clean. But the objective of pressure care is to have a surface which is not causing any more undue pressure, and it's not closing the peripheral arteries. If we can achieve that, we can achieve healthy tissue. Currently, products on the market, you're probably familiar with foam and gel. Gel have been used very successfully. There are different grades of foam, going from what they call 50 micron to 65 micron, and then you have pudgy foam. You have various different things. Then you come to the old technology, which has been used, is really the alternating air beds. Now, these have been around for, I don't know, 30, 40 years in various different options. When I was working alongside Hill-Rom, they developed what we call a sand bed, and the sand bed was to try and place the person into a space where there is no direct pressure on the body. Now, in order to have negative pressure on any part of the body surface, the best medium is water. When I was taught by Roho and the experts there, including a lot of physiotherapists and doctors, the best medium by far was water. A skin diver, when entering the water, it's zero pressure on the body. It's not zero pressure. It's a mean average pressure, but it's the same all over the body, the entire surface of the skin. But in order to try and do that when you're not immersed in water, is very, very difficult. And the owner of the Roho company, Bob Graby, he tried with an air cushion to try and develop a similar product to water. And the very first Roho cushions were about that high, unbelievable looking things. Developed on from there. It was discovered that the mean average pressure on that type of surface was around about 48 to 55 millimeters of mercury, which is way much higher than the capillary blood flow. So if you keep that bearing the capillary blood flow in mind, being 32 to 35 millimeters of mercury, and working under that, then you can always achieve a negative pressure surface. Going on from the original Roho cushions, alternating airbeds, which are probably by far the most common used devices now in nursing homes, in hospitals. Our friends from China are producing some machines which are incredibly inexpensive, but they have a lot of problems, such as breakdowns, noise, discomfort for the patient. But an alternating airbed is basically going above and below capillary blood flow. So it's stimulating the surface of the skin, and it's trying to keep the skin as a massaged effect when somebody's laying on the top of the surface. That's what an alternating airbed does. Going on from alternating airbeds, other surfaces, it was proven around about 15 years ago by a specialist clinic in the UK that a memory foam actually gave the best pressure readings, and the best pressure readings are somewhere in between 28 to 35 millimeters of mercury. So unfortunately, those types of products only last for around about 3 to 6 months, and then the foam starts to deteriorate and it becomes a harder surface. It's a fact of life. So if you can replace that foam very cheaply, then you've got a very good surface, but it doesn't work that way. It's impossible to work that way. The new technology, as far as we're concerned, is in spacer fabrics. And spacer fabrics have been around in the medical industry for probably, well, since 2000 properly. An article from Dresden University Hospital in Germany, which was done on the 23rd of September in 2002, stated that standard spacer fabrics are used very successfully in the treatment of pressure care. Now we've gone on from that. We have gone on from that because a standard spacer fabric is what we call a single weave. And a single weave, I don't know how to explain that. A single weave spacer fabric, which you probably have in Malaysia already on different products. They're using it on wheelchairs now. They're using it in some sports shoes. All sorts of products. A single spacer is going up and down on an enclosed surface. The triple layer, which our product, the Treat-Eezi, is a device which, I don't know if you can see this. It's very small to show you. This is a cross section of a Treat-Eezi product, and it's a triple weave. It's one section goes like this, one goes down, another one goes down, and then goes down that way. On the top surface, when the top surface comes into contact with the body, the layers of the top surface are elasticated and they collapse under the body weight. It's very, very simple. The body weight is held in position, and what happens once that body is in contact with the surface, the second, third and fourth layers of the product are built in such a way that they move and glide against the top layer. This is one of the secrets of the anti-shearing properties of the Treat-Eezi.
Sorry, Mr. Derek, is it okay if I asked for you to adjust the lighting a little bit so we can get a clearer look?
I'm sorry?
Is it okay if I ask for you to adjust the lighting a little bit so we can have a clearer look?
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know why it's gone so dark in here. I mean, it's nearly 38 degrees outside. Let me just try and move my computer screen. Is that better? I don't know if that's better or not. It's
I think you have to sit facing away from the light.
right.
Oh, that's better. That's better. This is much better. Thank you very much.
Is that better?
Much better. Thank you.
Can you see that? Can you now see that, Eugene?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, well, this is a cross section of the Treat-Eezi and how it's been developed over the last eight years, really. It's been developed over 8 years, and we took it from a non-medical product to a medical grade product, a class 1 medical product. And basically what happens is it's 4 layers of polyester fibers. Now, the polyester fibers are constructed in a way, one goes this way, one goes that way, and one goes that way. And under body weight, when somebody is laying or is sitting on top of this, the top layer encompasses, envelopes the body contact areas. Now, once these are in contact with the body, these collapse. These fibers on the top surface collapse, and they're also elasticated. These in turn glide against the second, third, and fourth layers, which are non-collapsible, but they stop shearing. Now, the idea of to stop shearing, as I refer to my previous couple of paragraphs, if you can prevent shearing in standard pressure care, then that's 93–94% of the pressure ulcers solved. So it's a very, very big factor. The other factor playing a major part in the Treat-Eezi is the fact that it has been pressure tested by some of the most unique and formidable pressure testing equipment by a Canadian company called TechScan. TechScan is now developing all sorts of pressure monitoring systems, and we were very lucky to work with them. And all our pressure testing, all our medical papers, which is also available on our website, can be found with independent testing by TechScan from the Canadian Medical Institute. The pressure testing was done originally, and you may be familiar with pressure testing, you may not. In the UK and certainly in North America and Europe, if something isn't pressure tested, then the physiotherapists and occupational therapists are not really interested. So you have to prove that your product is achieving specific a requirement. The testing done on the Treat-Eezi on a standard body frame, body weight man was below capillary blood flow, which was 28 millimeters of mercury. And if I go back to the 28 millimeters of mercury, which is below the capillary blood flow, then it's impossible if your capillary arteries in your skin are flowing with blood, you're not going to have an occlusion of the skin surface. It's a little bit like a stroke. It can only be explained very simply. If somebody has a stroke, one of the arteries in the heart or wherever in the body closes. And when that closes, something stops. And a pressure sore is basically the same. It's either an arterial flow of blood is being pinched because of the pressure being put on top of it on the surface, and if you allow that surface to keep on necrosing or dying, then the pressure ulcer is just going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. If you allow the peripheral arteries to maintain good blood flow, then you have no chance of skin necrosis. It's a very simple fact. And pressure care should be looked at that way in a lot of respects, because a lot of people make it very, very difficult. We have tried over 30 years plus to look at products, to look at systems, and to say, okay, fine, you know, this surface will do, this surface will not do, and in certain respects, you can get away with simplicity, but you have to look at the patient, and you have to regard what's going on with the patient, and try all the time to maintain healthy blood flow. So that is Spacer Fabrics. The Treat-Eezi is the unique part of the Spacer material, and this is actually patented by us and the factory, and we've got this patent now for another, I don't know, 13 years. So we're quite happy with that. Do you want me to start going to start talking about the different products we have in the range, or do you want me to take any questions? How do you want me to play? We have very many different testimonials. Eugene, can you talk? Yeah.
Could you share a little bit about your experiences in the pressure care space when it comes to nursing homes or hospitals in the UK?
Yeah. I mean, it's not only in the UK. Just recently, we've started to do a lot of business in Singapore, your neighbours, and they started very slowly. They took a couple of products. We actually had a children's clinic, the Rainbow Centre, which is in Singapore, and they had a poorly girl who was getting tissue breakdown all the time. She was on an alternating air bed, and the therapist there decided that it was actually causing her skin to break down. So they were looking for an alternative. And unfortunately, with Treat-Eezi is a relatively new product in terms of medical terms. It's been around now for 9 years as as the manufacturers actually made it, but it's only been around as we manufacture it now for the last 6 years. So in terms of doctors and recognition, we're still very new to the business, and a lot of people are trying to try the product, but they sometimes the tissue viability nurses that we have in the UK, they've all been taught that any surface which is combating pressure ulcers has to be, I don't know, 15 centimeters thick. This was the old way, and in my experience, and even when I was working for Roho, a standard Roho cushion was 10 centimeters high, high profile, and then 5 centimeters for the low profile. Nurses and tissue viability specialists are still of that opinion, but as I say to people now, listen, times and technology changes, and 10 years ago you wouldn't buy a car with a sat nav. Now you don't need a map anymore. You buy a car and it's automatically got a sat nav in it. Technology in pressure care has also changed. And it's becoming a lot different. We no longer use the scales that the nurses did on a piece of paper to rate from 1 to 20, the Norton scale. We now use ultrasound machines to measure, and Dopplers to measure the peripheral blood flow and the blood flow of the tissue, even going down to the bone. So a lot has changed over the last 10 years as far as pressure care is concerned. And people are now accepting that a thinner surface can do just the same job. We at Treat-Eezi, we use in conjunction with the product. Say if you're in a nursing home, you would buy a Treat-Eezi to put on top of a standard mattress. The standard mattresses are normal hospital type nursing home mattresses, and you put the Treat-Eezi as behind me. This is a full length mattress, 195 by 95 centimeters, and you put that on top, and you can put the patient directly on top of that if they have an existing grade 3 or grade 4 ulcer. Now, doctors and nurses and clinicians have now proven within a certain specific time scale, and if the patient doesn't have what we call deep vein thrombosis, because you're never gonna be able to treat somebody if they don't have a blood flow. If they do have a blood flow and they don't have deep vein thrombosis, then you can treat them with various different materials, including Treat-Eezi. So the young lady in Singapore, which I was talking about, she was actually getting a pressure sore off an alternating air bed, because alternating air beds are plastic mainly. They make the body sweat, and we don't really want that. When somebody's laying down for very long periods of time without movement, you have to have a surface which is not giving upwards pressure and forcing the body to actually necrose. So the chief nursing director in the Rainbow Centre in Singapore decided to purchase a Treat-Eezi, and I'm very happy to say that within 3 weeks, the young lady's tissue got back to normal. She no longer has any pressure ulcers. She sleeps now with a hospital sheet on top of the Treat-Eezi. It's not tucked in because you have to allow for the movement of the body, and if you put a hospital sheet over the top of this material, then you don't want this enclosed so it can't move, because you're taking away the shearing, anti-shearing of the properties of the treaties. So if you're going to put this in a nursing home environment, then a normal hospital sheet will go over the top of this, and don't tuck it in. It's as simple as that.
Right.
You just use it like that. We've had cases where other products haven't worked. Unfortunately, as I said, we're very new, 6 years now in the running of Treat-Eezi. But in the 6 years, unfortunately, we get all the worst cases, the worst case scenarios of patients who are not getting better on alternating air beds or foam mattresses or pudgy foams. They're still having their grade 3 going into a grade 4 ulcer, and hospitals and nursing homes are looking at alternative methods. So we get the worst kind of patients, unfortunately, and we're having to prove ourselves. In terms of efficiency, I mean, a Treat-Eezi is really a no-brainer as far as there's no maintenance. Once you've got the product, you can wash it every day if you want to at 92 degrees. You can, if it becomes doubly soiled, i.e. incontinence or feces, then if it's really in a bad way, you can actually get a small cup of bleach and put it directly into the washing machine, and it'll come out like brand new. It's very simple. After 6 years of use in Canadian hospitals, these outer edges start to fade. That's the only thing. They start to fade after like 300 washes. That's how efficient it is. In actual fact, you know, we guarantee the products for 2 years, but we really could say 4 years easily.
Right. Okay.
So,
some of our acquaintances.
Other cases in terms of pressure care, there was a young lady, a tissue viability nurse from London. She had a problem with a 72-year-old gentleman who was on an alternating air bed, and he couldn't get to sleep. The airbed was waking him up all night. He was sweating profusely. He developed a grade 3 ulcer. So they decided to use the Treat-Eezi, and within 3.5 weeks, his grade 3 ulcer had disappeared. He was sleeping better, and he's getting on very, very, very well. Now, we actually gave this tissue viability nurse 2 products, and she tried it on another product, another lady, a grade 4 ulcer, and she was severely damaged. The skin was basically going down to the bone, and within 5 weeks, the pressure ulcer had healed. And she was a French lady, and she refused to give the product back. Now that was 2 years ago, and she's still laying on it. So we have lots and lots of. That was an 84-year-old lady. One comment from the Parkview nursing home, which is a very big group of nursing homes in the UK. They said, our problem in our nursing home was the fact that the alternating air beds they were using were continually breaking down, and they had to have a service contract where engineers were coming out at night, and in certain cases where the elderly and frail patients actually required the alternating air beds to work 24/7. These machines were breaking down. They only had a number of alternating air beds that they could give to their severely damaged patients. So they tried Treat-Eezi, and they're now changing all their beds to Treat-Eezi. And in the most severe cases of a necrosis of the skin, and when patients are incontinent, doubly incontinent, we supply what we call a vapor permeable cover. Now we don't like to put a vapor permeable cover on top of this surface for the simple reason that it inhibits the anti-shearing and a little bit of the pressure care, because obviously the more you put on top of this, the less movement you're going to have between the layers of the skin, between the layers of the product. But in general terms, the product, if it has a vapor permeable cover, it can be sterilized and wiped down within 5 minutes. Therefore, it can go from patient to patient with a vapor permeable cover. Now, this information is on our website, so you can see everything there. You can see the vapor permeable covers, and some nursing homes prefer to use that for the simple reason that, in general terms, if you've got a grade 3 or grade 4 ulcer, we like to think, or the doctors have proven to us, that those ulcers, in general terms, can be healed within a period of 3 to 5 weeks. If you put a cover on it, that takes another 2 to 3 weeks time. But if you have a patient in a nursing home environment, then another 2 or 3 weeks is not going to make much difference. So, you know, that's the general scenario.
Right. We have a lot of caregivers here in the audience today, so I'm going to ask a question from a caregiver perspective. So
Okay.
at the moment, a lot of people at home, nursing homes, whenever they have to send a patient or an inmate over to a hospital because of an external reason, they have cases where the patients come back with bed sores, right? So
Yes.
yep. So I have a few questions here. The first would be typically in a nursing home or a senior care center, the advice is typically if the patient is bedridden a lot, we have to adjust their position quite often so that the blood flow is regulated and they don't get bed sores. With the Treat-Eezi, is there anything like that that needs to be done? Do we still have to adjust their position? Is there anything else we should monitor?
Well, yeah, and recent information we've had, a lot of people are now using Treat-Eezi. That they're buying our what we call community pad, which is a shorter version of the long, the full length, and they're using it in what we call molded seating. You've probably got molded seating in Malaysia. I mean, it's been around for a long time. It's a little bit like a racing car seat. A lot of disabled children have molded seating, or disabled people in wheelchairs, they have a molded seat made specifically for their body, for their contours. Now, the problem with a molded seat, or even a foam carved seat, is as soon as you've taken that mold and you place somebody in that seat, when they move their body, it creates a pressure point. It's just logical. So it's a little bit like, you know, Lewis Hamilton, the Formula One guy. He sits very tightly in his molded seat and he's not moving because he's strapped in. Well, that's okay, because the pressure over the entire surface of the seat is exactly the same. But when somebody, like a child, a disabled child, moves in a specific environment like that, then you have to have what we call an interface between the molded seat and the surface of the skin. Now, they're using, there's a company called Simple Stuff Works, and they're all over the world. And there's another company, they do molded seating systems and sleep systems. And sleep systems are used to control spasms and all sorts of things in disabled and young children. And they're very particular about keeping the pressure low when you have these sleep systems and molded seating systems. So they use what we call a 3-layer Treat-Eezi, because you don't need it 4 layers thick. If you've got a molded seat, or you're going to put this on top of even people are putting this on top of alternating air beds now. You can do that, and you create an interface between the body and the surface, which is dissipating the pressure. And it's also good for if somebody goes into a spasm, they can knock their arms, or you've probably noticed, a lot of your caregivers have noticed children or young adults going into spasm and they knock themselves. They're using this as armrests. They're doing all sorts of things with it because it protects the skin. General terms, yes, I mean, the general nursing, we in the UK certainly, and in America, you're supposed to turn the patient every 2 hours. That's a general thing. We have had patients on a Treat-Eezi in a coma for 3 months without being turned, and quite frankly, I was surprised about that. The person involved was a car crash victim, a young man, and he was in a coma for 3 months, and it was impossible for them to turn him for the simple reason that his body was just full of pins and plates. And they put him on an alternating air bed, but that didn't work. So then they put the Treat-Eezi on top of an alternating air bed, and that worked. And that was 3 months. So, if you have that negative pressure building or underneath the surface of the skin, with your getting back to your peripheral blood flow again, being either 32 or 35 millimeters of mercury, and you have a surface like this with 28 on average, then you're not going to have any closures of the peripheral arteries. There are lots and lots of cases now coming daily in. We get reports, and a lot of the reports can be found on our website. All sorts of comments. A lot of people in London, in particular, have what they call non-compliant patients, and non-compliant patients, they don't want to comply with what the government, NHS, National Health Service, doctors and nurses give them. We had a gentleman last Christmas who was, I think he was 76. He lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. He was given an alternating air bed because he had a grade 3 pressure ulcer by the district nurse, the visiting nurses. And he refused to take it because he said, it's impossible. Where's my wife going to sleep? I only have 1 bed. My wife can't sleep on the floor. She's 71 or whatever. And so fortunately for him, he lived in an area where they had Treat-Eezi on the agenda for treating non-compliant patients. So the district nurse returned the next day with one of these behind me, and she put him on top of this, She laid him directly on top of the Treat-Eezi without any sheet. He was on that for approximately 3 weeks. He stayed at home for the Christmas period. His children visited him. His wife laid next to him, because you can put this on a double bed by just securing 2 sides rather than 4 sides. He had a wonderful Christmas at home with his family. And 3.5 weeks later, the district nurse telephoned us and said the grade 3 pressure ulcer was healed, to her amazement. And the supplies officer said, he telephoned me and he said, "You've saved my health authority £36,000, because to put a patient in a hospital in London with a grade 3 ulcer costs a minimum of £33,000. So that was one of our major success stories.
Okay, just maybe 1 or 2 more questions. The rest of the audience, if you have questions as well, you can type it in chat. We do have a Q&A session after this in about maybe 10 minutes. So another question for you, Mr. Jarek, also from the perspective of a caregiver. So you've mentioned that a lot of these like pressure sores just come from sharing, and the Treat-Eezi helps to just take away the issue of sharing when it comes to
not just sharing. I mean, the World Health Organization figures actually show that it's about 92-93% of pressure ulcers are caused by shearing. Now, if you can take away that shearing, but obviously people in hospital, unfortunately, a lot of patients go into hospital and they come out with a pressure ulcer. So in an ideal world, I mean, I can relate to my own mother, who was in hospital, and she lived 2 months off of being 100. She was waiting for a letter from the Queen, but she never got it. She sadly passed away. But I visited her in hospital, and she was actually on an alternating air bed. And I said to the nurse involved, "My mother's laying on a piece of concrete." You know, it was so hard. And she came out of hospital with a grade 2 ulcer. She didn't have it for long because we gave her some proper equipment. But unfortunately, the UK is it's a big population of people coming in and out of hospital, and it's a well-known fact that some of the patients are coming home with pressure ulcers. So, you know, they're trying their best to treat the community patients now. They don't want patients going into hospital with pressure ulcers, because there are now different equipment. I can actually show you, and I don't know if you can pick up this from our website. This is a form done by Herefordshire NHS Trust. It's a National Health Service area in the UK, and they give these forms out to their community nurses, and they say that community cushion section tool. But we don't only just make a mattress; we also make a community seat pad to go on your wheelchair, or to go on your sofa. You can put it on your car seat. So they say that they use what they call the Waterloo Assessment Risk Level, which is the 1 to 20, and above 20, it's incredibly high risk. So they say at risk, score 10 to 15, they would recommend their nurses to see a patient. Is the patient able to move, transfer independently? If it's yes, then they would recommend what they call a Cumbria castellated foam cushion. Okay, if it's no, they would recommend a Durham flat visco cushion. Now, if the patient is very high risk, and this is from the NHS, if the patient is very high risk with a Waterloo score of 20 plus, but low dependency, they would recommend a Berkshire gel cushion with foam, a foam cushion with a gel insert. Now, that is if the patient is very high risk, but with low dependency. If the patient is very high risk with a Waterloo score of 20 plus, with a very high dependency, then they would recommend a Treat-Eezi seat pad. Now, they've said to us that they're using Treat-Eezi now for their community and their nursing home patients for the simple reason that instead of going out and buying what they call a relaxed recliner type nursing home chair with a tilt and space device, where it tilts the chassis so that you can alleviate pressure underneath the ischial tuberosities, they prefer to pay a very low price in comparison to with a Treat-Eezi seat pad, which even when the chair is in a forward or a recline tilt position, it doesn't slip off. Now, the standard sort of chairs for nursing homes with anti-decubitus properties are costing about $700 to $1,000, probably more. This is less than, well, I don't know. I'm not talking about prices, but it's not even $200. So they're saving an awful lot of money. One health authority told us in London that by changing alternating air beds to Treat-Eezi mattresses, they were actually saving £130,000 a year by stopping the maintenance contract because of the breakdowns in the alternating air beds. They stopped the maintenance contract, and they were paying £650 for an air bed, whereas the Treat-Eezi was much lower. So they were saving over £450,000 a year. It's a big difference, and that's just one area of London.
Let's say if a nursing home has one of these Treat-Eezis, maybe a community pad, maybe one attached to a bed for any of their patients, but then has to send a patient to a hospital. Let's say if a patient is recovering from bedsore wounds, but then has to send this patient to the hospital for unrelated, let's say maybe they have a disease or something and they have to stay at the hospital, and then there's always that risk of that patient coming back with more bed sores. Do you have any advice for situations like that?
Yeah, if they've got a pressure ulcer and they've got a Treat-Eezi, is that what you're saying?
Yes, correct. So they have one in their nursing home, but then their patients have to go to the hospital every now and then.
Okay, well, the idea of the Treat-Eezi is, I mean, we do a lot of, we work with a lot of disabled people who actually take their community pad on holiday with them, and they can, because it's so portable. And I can show you. This is behind me. This is a full length. Now I don't know if you can see that. Now this is a full length mattress. You can actually put that in your case if you're going on holiday. The community pad is even smaller, and what people do, they just roll the community pad up, and they can put it in the middle of the bed or wherever, wherever they're at risk, because it's not only a treatment, it's also a prevention. So if you can prevention is better than healing. So if you can prevent it, a lot of disabled people, they take their seat pads. If they're driving their car or whatever, they take it off their wheelchair and they put it on their car seat. That's on the seat pad. The community pad, it wraps around any chair and it doesn't move, and it protects the back, and it also protects the ischial tuberosities. I've had a message from Mala Patmara. Hello.
We'll address that in the Q&A section, which is after this. So thank you very much, Derek, for your sharing session. I'm going to stop the segment here because of time constraints.
Okay.
So before we start our Q&A session, okay, I'm just going to turn on my video again. Thank you very much, Mr. Derek. We'll have you back up here for a Q&A in a little bit.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. All right, so before we start our Q&A session, I'd like to welcome our VIP for this afternoon, the president of the Residential Aged Care Operators of Malaysia, or AgeCope. We have with us Mr. Delvin Terence Douglas to say a few words. Mr. Delvin, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. You have to unblock my video.
Okay.
Okay. Very good afternoon to everyone, all guests and our special panelist, Derek team. Thank you for your sharing just now. Thank you, Olivia, for inviting me. I'm representing the Association for Aged Care Operators Malaysia. We are an association representing all the care operators throughout this country. We are newly formed. We are less than 5 years old, but we are picking up steam, especially during this time of COVID. And instead of hindering our growth, it's actually speeded up our growth because more people have come to us for assistance, for help. And in this pandemic, a lot of homes are at a loss. I can't blame specifically the government for them looking towards us for help, but everybody is at a loss. And I think the government is just as at a loss as we are. I can put it in a nice way. Okay, thank you, Eugene.
Thank you very much, Mr. Darren. So now I'd like to invite all of our panelists to unmute themselves, and we'll jump straight into our Q&A session. So I do have a couple of questions collected beforehand. So if the rest of the audience have any further questions, please do type it out in chat. For people viewing on Facebook, you can leave a comment and we'll respond to that when we can. Okay, so first question for Derek is, what prompted you to invent this product, the Treat-Eezi?
Invent. Well, for many years, we were looking at surfaces. Even when I was working for the Americans, we were always trying to look for surfaces which would be below capillary blood flow, for negative pressure against the tissue. And we came across the Treat-Eezi material as it was originally, and they told us, the factory in Canada, they weren't using it as a medical product. They were using it as a buffering product for motorbikes and all sorts of different things. And I looked at their original pressure readings, and it stated 28 millimeters of mercury. Well, I literally fell off my chair, because for 30 years in this business, to try and get something which was below that critical level of capillary blood flow. It was just an amazing thing. But unfortunately, the product that they used, it was the same design, but it wouldn't pass any of the physical tests that were involved in Europe. America and Canada have different regulations for fire. They actually have what they call the Californian cigarette test, whereas in the UK, which was the toughest regulations in the world, and I won't tell you why, because I know that you already sell robos. We have a thing called a crib 5 test, and if your product doesn't pass the crib 5, it's an actual box. You put your product in it, and they basically set light to it, and it has to self-extinguish. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So this came about many years ago by a gentleman smoking a cigarette, and he was sitting on a particular product, and he fell asleep with the cigarette. He was in a wheelchair, fell asleep with the cigarette, and he burned to death because the cushion caught light and it just. Now, the regulations now in the EEC and certainly in the UK, always you have to have this crib 5 pass. So we basically reinvented Treat-Eezi as it was from Canada, and we put through all these tests and spent lots and lots of money. And it was because the product, in my mind, as a person working in pressure care for so many years, it was just amazing. And to see, after we made the changes, to see the people's faces, in particular children, disabled children, if you put them on a surface, or elderly gentlemen, elderly ladies and gentlemen, to put them on a surface where they're not sweating, it's not making them sweat, they don't have a noise in their ears all night because of a pump, and they're not going up and down. You know, it's not normal. Even on I've got a question, even on a Ripple mattress, it's not normal to go up and down all night. It's, you know, I don't, if I have a pressure sore, I want to be on a surface which is not giving pressure coming up. The pressure coming up should be below my capillary blood flow. So, you know, so when we found this and we developed it further, then it's a lot of hard work. It's but we're gradually making the world know about Treat-Eezi. And we're very lucky because we have some very good partners around the world. Singapore, we hopefully have iElder very soon, you know, and Australia, New Zealand. And what we're noticing is that it's the companies which are coming to us now, they're professional companies. They're run by occupational therapists and physiotherapists, and even in some cases doctors. The only place where we don't really sell very many products is the Middle East, and I can tell you the reason why. The Middle East, they have no problems with money, so they don't care. You know, Saudi Arabia, they like buttons and they like lights and they like flashing things. Well, the Treat-Eezi doesn't do any of that, but it doesn't break down either.
Right.
We have done some work in Oman, where the nursing homes were very happy, because one of the beauties of Treat-Eezi is you can get a student nurse just come from, you know, college, who's never seen an alternating airbed or a pressure care product before, and they can put it on the bed and they can say bye-bye. It's going to work.
Okay.
It's going to help the patient. So everybody, including the doctors, including the nurses in the nursing homes, they, oh goodness me, that patient is being looked after, and we don't have to, you know, a lot of people in, some poor people in London, they are afraid. They're given an alternating airbed, but they turn them off at night because they're afraid to pay the electricity. You know, you don't, you know, can you imagine? I mean, that's tough. And there are a lot of people like that. They don't have protection 24/7, so they turn the electricity off because they can't afford the electricity. So they're given a Treat-Eezi now, and that's why we called it Treat-Eezi. You know,
it's a very good name for a very good product.
I hope so. You know, we believe in it very, very strongly, and now many more people around the world are believing it too.
There's a question here from Mr. Delarin. So, as president of the Residential Aged Care Operators of Malaysia, sorry, can I just okay. Right. So as president of the Residential Aged Care Operators of Malaysia, what are your thoughts on the issue of bed sores among senior residents? Like, have bed sores and bedsore management been a constant issue or a constant challenge for senior homes to deal with?
I believe this question and answer was brought up earlier, but if you were to ask my opinion, I would like to say that the causes of bed sores at care centers is less prevalent now than before. Care centers are not the cause of the bed sores nowadays, because of possibly due to more information. We have access to Google. We have access to knowledge. There's more awareness nowadays as compared to 15-20 years ago, when someone is placed at a care center and chances are they will have bed sores there. Nowadays, the causes of bed sores are from the family themselves before coming into the care centers, meaning they do not know how to take care of the family members well. They have bed sores there, then they come in with the bed sores. That is the main cause. Second main cause are from the hospitals. Sadly, when we have residents in our care centers who are sent to the hospitals, after 2 weeks in the hospitals or 3 weeks in the hospital, they will come back with bed sores. Now, due to lack of staff, due to lack of training, due to the workload, possibly the care given is not as good as at care centers nowadays. So looking at it, the cost is less prevalent from care centers, it's more from outside. But we have the same problem once they bring these residents, senior citizens into our centers, we will have the same issue. We have to take care of them and to turn them around and so forth. Subsequently, hearing all that was said just now, when a resident in our center becomes less dependent, when from they were independent and they can move about, then they become more bedridden and they have to stay on the bed more often, the possibility of getting bed sores will be there. So it's up to the staff to be alert on this. And currently, majority of us are using Ripple mattress. Today is the first time I'm hearing of Treat-Eezi. So hearing the benefits of Treat-Eezi, it looks much more better than the Ripple mattress usage. Like I slept on the Ripple mattress. I'll try it out, and the sound, the machine sound can be a bit annoying the whole night through. Yeah, I've tried it because before I use it, I'll try it, and it can be a bit annoying. So I can understand when Derek says that the humming sound of the machine, it will be an annoyance in the long term. That's my take.
Yeah, it's very good to know that. First of all, thank you, Mrs. Aaron, for sharing. It's very good to know also that the quality of care that's being given out in terms of bedsores, at least in senior care centers, has improved over the years. And it's also very good to hear that, you know, even the president of the senior care operators has a very positive light towards this Treat-Eezi. Perhaps later on in the future, we might be able to adopt it in senior homes across Malaysia. Moving on, I do have a question for Olivia. So, Miss Olivia, if you could unmute.
Yes.
All right. So, Miss Olivia, I understand that iElder.asia is a part of a larger company called ASEAN Integrated Medical with your own clinic and your own nursing home. So, what prompted you to host this webinar about bedsore issues?
Yeah, because bedsore is really a critical problems for most of the bedridden residents and patients. So, and one day I found that direct Treat-Eezi, I find that it's amazing without doing anything, and this Treat-Eezi can cure the bedsore. So I would like to explore further and see that whether this really helps people, right? Because sleeping at the ripple mattress is not an easy task for the long term, because it comes with the electricity, and really have to move to the innovation products that able to help elderly. So I found that Treat-Eezi and is very quality products that able to help. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so thank you very much. For Derek and Olivia, then I think a lot of our attendees also waiting to ask this question. So when will the Treat-Eezi be available for purchase in Malaysia?
Now we are doing the product registration. So, and we have the sample here that I think in the 6 month time or a year that we're able to get the registration with the Ministry of Health, and we can actually share this to the public. Yeah.
Let's say we have like senior home operators here today in our audience, right? Is it possible to actually get a sample of the Treat-Eezi for them to try it out before actually wanting to purchase?
Yes, we have the sample, and they're interested, they can actually leave the contact. We have the Google form, and they actually can fill in, and we can just land them for a short period of time, and they try it and see the difference or not. Yeah, that's important.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds great. That's very, very good to hear. A few more general questions from some of our caretakers from senior homes as well. This is from one of our nurses from the Gam Yam nursing home, yeah. And any panelists can come in to answer this. The question is, dressing the wound dressing and plasters for bed sores can be very expensive. The Treat-Eezi aside, are there any more cost-efficient alternatives to this? Anyone want to take that question?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
The question is, wound dressing and plasters for bed sores can be very expensive. Are there any more cost-efficient alternatives to this besides the Treat-Eezi?
Yeah, I can only comment because I'm not a dressings expert, but I can only comment that a recent study done by a professor of tissue viability, I think his name is Professor Dominic Stephanis or something. He comes from a place called Ghent University. And he is one of the top people in Europe. And now he's just finished a €3 million study on dressings. And the interesting part was that the dressings, the new dressings they're bringing out are layered, similar to the Treat-Eezi. So we sent him a Treat-Eezi, and he couldn't believe it. He said, I've just spent €3 million from the government on a particular dressing. And I think it was a company like Johnson & Johnson, or something similar to a very big company. and they've made these dressings a little bit like this with the layers so to protect the skin. He said, I can't believe your product. He said it's basically the same as what I'm doing with the tissue now with dressings. So that was a favorable comment from one of the top people in the world who's in charge of tissue throughout Europe. That's my comment.
Eugene, can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. As to cost-effective way of treating wounds, you have a choice to use a poorer quality. When I say poorer quality, you want to offset your cost. You think it's okay. I give you an example. You can use a normal gauze or a duoderm plaster to treat the wound. Now, a duoderm will cost you more than a gauze. But if you want effective healing, you will definitely pay for quality. So when it comes to cost-effective way, today in the market, the only cost-effective way is you compromise on the quality of the care. So until we see a better or a lowering of the better quality rates of the plasters in the market, there is not much alternative or choices there. If they were, everybody would be jumping on the bandwagon and using it in the first place. So to the answer to the nurse, it's either quality and quick healing, or to cut costs, you do it with whatever you have, and that won't guarantee a quick healing for the patient involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Eugene, if I may comment, I mean, our theory in Europe and America, prevention is better than cure.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can prevent the pressure sores in the first place by using a material which, I mean, one of your questions I got on the chat was how different is Treat-Eezi from a Ripple mattress?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a Ripple mattress, in my opinion, you may as well go and buy a Lilo for the beach because it's the same. It's the upwards pressure which is causing the problems. And although when you're on a Lilo or a Ripple mattress, it gives in a certain way, it does move with the body, but the pressures are still very much higher than they should be. And with this new technology, we can now prove through ultrasound and through Doppler systems that it's actually one of our studies on our website was done by Dr. Stephen Young. He was in charge of tissue viability department in Guy's Hospital, University Hospital in London, and he was in charge for 30 years. Now, when we first brought Treat-Eezi to the UK, we went to him because he invented an ultrasonic system to measure blood flow going through the tissue. And that study is on our website. And you can see he did 12 patients in a nursing home. And we don't even know where the nursing home was. He wouldn't tell us. But we gave the nursing home 12 mattresses. After 3 months, every single one of the patients, and they were all from 75 to 95, every single one of the patients had an increased blood flow to the capillary arteries, which was amazing. We were so happy. And that paper is illustrated on our website for everybody to see. So, so how different is a Treat-Eezi from a Ripple mattress? Well, you won't sweat because it doesn't sweat. It moves with the body. You cannot puncture it because there is no way. Even if you cut this surface, it's still going to maintain its form. It cannot break down like a Ripple mattress. Okay, in general terms, and in the short term, it's going to be more expensive than a Ripple mattress because I believe Ripple mattresses coming from China, low cost. but this will probably last 8 years, even being washed once or twice a week at 93 degrees. So, and people from the NHS, where we have contracts, are now using this in the community. They're going out with the community nurses to treat people at home or nursing homes. And then after the patient has recovered, they're coming back into the community equipment stores. They're being washed, laundered, and then they go back on the shelf for the next patient. So it's a continuous role of the product being available for many, many individual patients. And they're saving lots and lots of money because it is recyclable. Yep. It's completely recyclable. An alternating airbed, once it's punctured, or even a ripple mattress, once it's punctured, it's gone. It's finished.
Okay. We have time for one final question. I'm opening up to the floor. Sorry.
I have one add-on for that wound dressing.
Okay.
We have this bio nature spray invented by Malaysian inventor Kenny, and this one we will give complimentary to all the nursing homes that can actually get things for free. It's for the wound dressing, so it helps a lot. So, and feel free to approach us if you need one. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that's very good information. Thank you very much, Olivia. Okay, so I think we have 5 minutes left. So I'm opening up to the floor to the audience to see if they have any questions. I'll be reading out some comments that we have. One from Shalini that says, I agree with Derek with prevention. Extreme bedsore cases can be painful and also cause other health complications to those that are already in the high dependency mode. So that's here's hoping that the Treat-Eezi will be able to help to prevent because all of us, I think, even no matter how young, how old you get, I don't think anyone can really avoid pressure sores as you slowly get older. So I think this is a very relevant product to every single one of us, whether be it for ourselves or for our parents. We also have another comment from Shafika EM on Facebook that says this product is very easy to use with a thumbs up. So that's it's very good to see our audience are all very hyped about this product. Okay, I don't think there are any further questions from the audience, so I'd like to just wrap this session up. Thank you very much, our panelists, for your time today, and thank you for your valuable insight onto bedsore issues and bedsore management. That'll be all the time we have for today. So don't forget, for the audience, don't forget to like us on Facebook to stay notified on upcoming products and events. I will be putting up a video reel of the Treat-Eezi and also the QR codes for if you're interested in arranging to get one of these Treat-Eezi samples for your own, and also another QR code for a feedback form where you can claim your free gift for those of you who have stayed till the end. Our next webinar will be in August. You can check it out and register for it on our website at www.iElder.asia. Thank you very much, panelists. Thank you very much, audience. And we will see you next month.
Thank you very much. Thank you everybody in Malaysia for listening.
And the
Have a good day.
Thank you, Derek.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So we end the webinar, yeah?
I don't know. I'm sharing the video.
Okay.
Sometimes simplicity is genius. That's why at Dan Medica South Limited, we've worked hard to develop a completely new and unique product to tackle a problem that has been addressed in the same way for so many years. Treat-Eezi is a simple yet highly effective invention to help both prevent and heal pressure sores and ulcers up to grades 3 and 4. Coming in the form of mattress overlays, seat pads, pillowcases and more. The Treat-Eezi is a uniquely woven polyester product in 4 layers, which slide and move in accordance with the movement of the user, naturally minimizing shearing and reducing damage to the skin. The unique structure inside each layer wicks away moisture from the skin surface, reducing sweating, and the increased airflow throughout the structure allows a cooler and drier experience. The simplicity of the product means it can be used anywhere, at home or in a hospital. Easily reused and fully washable, with both impressive results and affordable prices for all. Allow the Treat-Eezi range to provide 24/7 protection, maintenance and trouble-free. Make way for the new normal in pressure sore prevention. Dan Medica South Limited, the company behind Treat-Eezi.